have all the members of the Cooper Board of Directors here on site with introductions. And again, sorry they can't all be here. We had a meeting this morning, a Zoom meeting. They all wish they could have been here, but given the circumstances, and erring on the side of caution, we decided to just do it this way. So I'm going to be the Lone Ranger here. But I did want to, start out with some thank yous. Thanking all the members of the board who are so supportive, and they've been spending a lot of time on things this year, much more so than they usually have, given some projects we're getting into, and just being concerned and helping out with how we're getting through this whole COVID situation. So thank you very much to the 9 members of our board. We also would like to thank the Board of County Commissioners for their support, in particular the representative to the Ski Cooper Board and ex officio Representative Commissioner Mark Glenn. Thank you, but also thank you to Kayla and also to Sarah for all your support and everything that we do here. I want to also mention our Forest Service most prominent representative, Michelle Mueller. She has been wonderful to work for, and I did want to mention congratulations to Michelle, as she will be retiring, I believe, sometime between now and the end of March. So congratulations on that. We're going to miss you. It's going to be hard training somebody new. No, but really thank you very much, Michelle. You've been such a supporter for everything that we've done here since I've gotten here. So we're going to miss you a lot. Also, normally I introduce the full slate of managers and supervisors and staff that are on site for this day. But again, you're stuck with just me, given the circumstances. But I'll go through some projects on a PowerPoint slide in a little bit, and you'll see the kind of work that our Vice President of Mountain Maintenance, Tim Kerrigan, has gotten done over the course of this past off-season. And Karen Savory, the Vice President of Base Area Services, trying to figure out how we're going to manage passes and getting those out and, controlling things from that standpoint. That's been a huge, mountainous task that she's been dealing with, obviously with some help. And everybody else, on the staff. I'm here today with, you can't see them, but Dana, our Marketing and Sales Director, is here. She's kind of really helped me to set up this presentation. And Lucas, our IT guy, looks like he's got TV8 studio set up over here. Hope it all works. Hope you're hearing me. If not, write him a letter. But appreciate the help that they've given me, as well as everybody else. It's been an unusual time. We've been doing a lot of things that we're not accustomed to here in preparation for the upcoming season. In addition to that, I would never want to miss this. I want to thank my wife, Leslie, who puts up with me in this business and has been putting up with me in this business for a long time. Long hours, many days, very understanding, so thank you very much, dear. So just a quick, for those of you who aren't aware, John Clapper usually goes through a little dissertation on how Ski Cooper is organized. And we are operating on U.S. Forest Service land, owned by the United States of America. So with that, this whole thing came about back in the early 40s when the 10th Mountain Division trained here and did some ski training on this hill with an old T-bar, the remnants of which still live in our old mountain office building. So once that was, their time here was completed, the county got involved. I think it was the Recreation Department, had, I believe they made an agreement with the county to operate the ski area. And so what happens is this: Lake County owns the fixed assets that lifts the buildings. Cooper Hill Ski Area, Inc. is a private, independent company, 501c4, that leases these fixed assets and operates under a special use permit that is given by the Forest Service. So that's kind of a quick rundown of that. Just want to mention that we are an independent company. We're not a department of the county. We don't receive subsidies from any government entity. We go this on our own. The way it works, when we make improvements, capital improvements, like last year we put in a new lift, cut new trails. We've done a number of things here. Those assets get transferred. It's a fixed asset to Lake County. So if anybody has any questions about that, call John Clapper or me, and we'll try to explain that. Real quick, I wanted to take a look at and do a little review of last ski season. We were very excited going into the year. We did, in fact, complete the new addition to the area, the Tennessee Creek Basin, with the Little Horse T-Bar and a whole bunch of gladed chutes and a couple of open trails. It was a really nice new pod, more difficult terrain than we've had in the past. We were very excited about that. We ended up getting the lift open, I think, early mid-January. And we were having a banner year. Had a great Christmas holiday. The snow was good. Things were clicking right along. And then this Mr. COVID started rearing his ugly head. And, people were being more hesitant to travel. And it turned into a real bad situation for everybody, Ski Cooper included. And, while we were ticking along here at record pace, and very happy about that, early March came along and things got dicier, and, there were telltale signs that there could be some restrictions and potentially even a shutdown coming at some point. But it came a little more abruptly than we all anticipated. It was Saturday, March 14th, and there was news shooting back and forth. I'm getting emails from managers of other areas in the state discussing what could be coming pretty quickly. And when we thought pretty quickly, we were thinking a week, a couple of days, maybe even 2 days, whatever. And as it turned out, on the late in the afternoon of March 14th, Saturday, March 14th, which, by the way, was right at the beginning of our busiest 2 to 3 week period with spring break, a time that we depend on to make the bulk of the revenue that we have to work with for the coming off season to do any major projects or anything we're trying to do. We found out late in the afternoon that Vail Resorts made a decision to close all of their resorts in the United States, and that ensued discussions in the governor's office, and we had phone calls from our association chairman, and I was on the phone with, again, a number of other ski area managers discussing what was going on. And again, we were planning on a couple of days, but as it turned out, about 9 o'clock that night, we received the mandate from the governor's office that we were to close, like, now. So that was a very interesting night, trying to figure out exactly what to do, because we were anticipating a pretty big crowd the next day. We had many folks who were looking forward to, they were already in town. They were at the Silver King and all the other places in town. B&Bs, ready to come out here and enjoy a week or whatever of skiing. And that was turned off in an instant. So we had to rally the troops, get in here first thing in the morning, make a lot of signs, have people in the parking lot explaining to our guests that we were forced to close. So that was a very difficult time. For us, for our guests, we had so many tickets sold for that period of time, day tickets, and people that were excited to come here, and we basically had to pull the rug out from under them because we had the rug pulled out from under us. I hope this is not a repeat scenario this year. I do not believe it will be, but it's going to take a lot of effort for that not to happen again, given the current state of affairs. So anyways, that's kind of how the shutdown occurred here. And we all of our staff members. So we took a look at things and made a decision. We opted to, pay our employees for an extra week or 2 or 3. We gave out some bonuses to try to fill in the gap between this closure and any funding, any stimulus package, any unemployment that these folks may be able to get into. So we did take the steps to try to take care of everybody here. We just kept the full-time year-rounders on. At that time, most people working remotely from their homes, with the exception of some of the maintenance guys periodically coming out one at a time, just checking the facilities, making sure things weren't freezing up. So that's how we handled that period of time that actually turned into stay-at-home statewide. That was, we were told several different times, and I understand how this all worked. But we were told this was a temporary closure. We were given certain dates when we thought we would be able to reopen, at least on a limited basis. And as it turns out, that didn't ever happen. We were closed for the balance of the season. And to kind of put things in perspective, that period of time that we were closed from March 14th until when we would have closed sometime early to mid-April represented probably a third of the revenue that we had anticipated for the entire ski season. So it kind of points out just exactly how important that spring break period is here for Ski Cooper and its financial welfare. So, moving forward, things eased up a little bit as the next couple of months went on. Back in here and started to work on what we were going to try to do to get into this season, given what had happened and what we were expecting to happen, as we were told by the health officials and medical experts. So that's been an ongoing thing ever since, and I will address that as I go on here today. I do want to mention, I'm really very pleased. We were able to get through this entire scenario without receiving any funds from any stimulus packages or any other sources. We were very careful. We tried to be pretty prudent and fiscally conservative, thanks to the way the board operates and the way the management staff operates. We were able to get through this thing without having to draw on any other source. The way our company is structured as a 501c4, we actually, it turns out, we investigated later on the possibility if we were to try to get any stimulus money in the future, like maybe right now. The way things stand right now, because of the way we're structured, we don't qualify, which is very disheartening to me because we work very hard, and I think it's unfair that we're not given that opportunity. So we've had to make some interesting decisions along the way, but we're fine. We had a really good, we rearranged our pricing, our season passes, our day passes and everything. We had a very good turnout for our early season, month of July season passes, and they've been selling fairly well since. So we're still fluid, we're moving forward. We are going to survive this. I'm very committed, and the staff and the board working collectively, we are committed to surviving. Whether we get any help anywhere or not, we will win this one. It's just going to be an interesting uphill battle at some point. So I hope you can all understand, some of the things that we've done in order to try to address what's going on. So we have done a lot of things. We've spent a lot of money making adjustments to the buildings. We've gotten rid of some cost or some revenue centers that we had to turn into seating for food and beverage because we just simply are going to be so restricted. I'll get more details about that as we go along here. But one thing I do want to mention is, this is a difficult situation, this whole coronavirus 19 thing. And I want you guys, everybody, to know that nobody in this organization takes this lightly. We cannot afford to take it lightly. Some people might disagree with one side or the other of this whole thing. We're committed as a group to taking this caution, I think we must abide by the rules and regulations, because I want us to be here, I want you to be here, enjoying an outdoor activity that I think is very healthy and good for everyone. Along with that outdoor activity, we've got the indoor components that I will address in a little bit. Those are the things that are going to restrict us. Those are the things that have actually been most paramount in us making decisions on how we have to operate. So I really wish that everybody could just calm down and get together on this one. This ski area can be a respite. It can be a nice place to come and relax and enjoy. I hate to see things getting polarized. We've just gone through a political season from where. I don't think we need anything else. So let's all get together on this and try to make the best of it. We intend to make the best of it. We're going to be here, but we will need your help along the way in helping us to comply with all the things that are going to be in place. I wanted to talk about our Ski Cooper COVID operating plan, and it's this document right here. This is an 18-page document that we formulated internally based on guidance from the state of Colorado and also from the local public health authorities. This document was a long time in being developed. The process kind of went like this. Initially, the state of Colorado, CDPHE, developed, and it took a while, guidance for all the ski areas in the state under which we all have to operate. They did seek out consultation with all the ski resorts, including us. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of Colorado Ski USA, so I was involved with helping with that process and working with the state officials on coming up with this guidance. It took, probably 4 or 5 weeks to get this thing all put together and wrapped up and back and forth and edited and agreed upon. It has been in place now for maybe three weeks. So what we did then, based upon that, is that we developed this COVID operating plan for Ski Cooper based on that guidance, and we then submitted that to the Lake County Public Health Association, Colleen Nielsen and the folks there, for their review and any edits or changes that they would like to have addressed. That part of the process has been completed. There are still a few things we're talking about locally here, but they've been wonderful. I know they got their backs against the wall. There's so much going on, but they were able to get our plan approved and sent off to the state. So now we're in the waiting game to get final approval from the state. I don't anticipate that there will be a problem with that, because some of the other ski areas that have opened really early, like A-Basin and Loveland, have already gotten their plans back and approved by the state. So I'm assuming that there shouldn't be any issues with ours. It's a very intricate document, covers everything, and so I'm hoping that there's not an issue with it. We're moving forward as if that is our guide, and hopefully that is the case. In addition to that, we also, I am going to talk about a lot of items in here in just a second, but I wanted to mention that in addition to that, we also have our own internal COVID operating plans for each department that lays out what restrictions and regulations our employees have to follow. Doing the health screening check in the morning, washing hands, social distancing, masking. The list goes on and on and on of things that we're going to require our employees, including me and everybody else, to do while we're here. Because the last thing we want to do is to have us get shut down because of a spike or an issue with a case or two here with our employees. So we're going working diligently with them. Hopefully they'll cooperate. We only have them while they're here, so hopefully we can convince them that it's really necessary to do this, because we all want to be here and we want to be providing this source of recreation for all of you. Lucas, how are we doing over there? Still stuck?
Let's see. I think we're good.
It's on kitchen floor. You want to move to the next one?
So we're on kitchen floor now. I've done that one. Has everybody seen that? Let's see if we go to the next one. Okay. Now back to the slide. Not to me, right, Lucas?
Yep. We're good.
Okay. So next, this is one of the, or actually we have two different projects here that, as I mentioned, Tim Kerrigan and all the guys got involved with. On the left, under the heading of new water line, we had some issues with getting pressure and with potential leaks in the water line from our state-regulated water treatment building and holding tank down to the base area buildings, you know, the Children's Center, the lodge, and everything else. So we took it upon ourselves and hired someone to come in, and we replaced, I think, about 500 feet or so of our supply line, put in a new water hydrant for emergency fire suppression, and basically revamped that whole thing, which turned out very well. On the other end of that, there's another slide that we don't have here. On the outgoing wastewater from the building, we ended up having a problem. At the end of last winter, when we closed down, we had our septic line that goes to our holding tanks froze up. So we did some, we brought in a guy, and he did a video scoping of that line and found that it, in fact, was broken in a couple places. So we also replaced some of the septic line that goes into our, as I said, our holding tank. So now we've got water in and water out, everybody's happy. But it was a little discomforting when we were here and couldn't use the restroom. It's a long way into town. So, anyways, on the right-hand side, we've got our Piney triple chair splice, and you know, this is Tim and his guy, all of his guys, along with some folks from Lightner Pama, were here, and I guess it would be Night Equipment did the actual splice. But this is a pretty interesting and cool thing. Probably if everybody really understood how these haul ropes, how these big cables that hold the chairs and everything was spliced together, you'd be scared to death. But it's really cool, and that was a very big project, way more complicated than would meet the eye. But yeah, we got that one all taken care of. And in addition to that, I don't think we have a slide on, we did two major upgrade projects on the Piney triple drive station. That's the top terminal, the one that's up in the air where the motor and the gearbox and all that stuff is. Tim arranged for getting a new hydraulic tensioning system and control unit in there, as well as a new brake system. So everything's up to speed. Go ahead and flip to the next one. So then we go into chairlift load test mode. It was our scheduled year to have to, every so many years you got to load test these things. That means we get all these boxes with plastic bags in them, fill them with water to equal the weight of two average or heavier than average human beings. And we have to test all the braking systems and everything with the lift fully loaded, but not human beings in case there's a catastrophic failure. So we did this on a scheduled basis for the 10th Mountain Double, and as a result of doing the splice and taking a little piece out of that line, we were required to also do the same thing as well as some other testing because of the new systems on the Piney triple. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It's actually a lot of fun to be involved with, and it's a critical part of the maintenance, you know. So the message here is that you know, Tim and his crew are very diligent. You know, I mean, they are directed by the lift, the State Lift Association, CPTSB, I guess it is. They're required to We go through these maintenance functions every so many years. And in addition to that, there's all the annual stuff that we have to do every year. Checking a certain number of the grips, and the list goes on and on and on. If you ever want to find out more about it, come out and sit down and have a cup of coffee with Tim. It keeps everybody extremely busy. Each lift goes through a whole barrage of testing and maintenance work each off-season. Okay, so now we go to the next slide. I already started on this COVID plan, so just shoot back up here to me, Lucas, as I try to work my way through this whole thing. So this COVID operating plan is kind of the Bible for what we are doing this winter, this ski season. And there are a lot of things in here that are going to be a little bit inconvenient, let's say. They're just outside the box, outside the norm of what we're used to in downhill skiing. I've been doing this for a long time. Just a little gray hair. I started when I was young, so I've been doing it for about 100 years. But this year's going to look quite a bit different. Hopefully, this doesn't bleed into the next ensuing years. Some of it might, because we're learning some things that are actually more efficient through this process. But some of these things will not be a requirement moving forward. But so, as I said, there was state guidance for developing this document. Every ski area had to do one of these. So we're not alone here. And I did work, like I said, in cooperation with a lot of other area managers putting these things together. So just to highlight some of the things in here, and we had to follow a very strict format, by the way, in putting this together. Some of the general enhanced safety protocols, like employees will receive ongoing and appropriate training on our protocols. So part of our orientation this year is going to be about what you have to do in your department and what you have to do in order to work here, whether it's masking or social distancing or whatever that case may be. Face coverings are required, inside and out. Washing hands. Guests will be required to wear face coverings at all indoor locations except while sitting at table. Tables will be limited, by the way. High-touch surface areas, doors, door handles, tables, etc. will be sanitized on a very regular basis. Plexiglass will be installed at all transaction points between guest and employee. If you're getting some of the cafeteria, there's plexi between whoever's running the point of sale there and you, as a sneeze guard and protection from sharing this COVID virus. We're going to encourage people to the best of their ability to use, cashless transactions, credit cards, or whatever. We will still be dealing with cash, gloved up, of course. So it's not an absolute requirement. Touch screens that guests usually have to interact with, like in the rental shop. Guests aren't going to be interacting or touching the touch screens. Now we'll have an employee behind the screen entering anything that needs to be entered for whatever transaction is going on. We're going to be keeping windows, some or all, open in the lodge in any building here to keep a little fresh air moving through. So our propane purveyor will be very happy this year because it's going to be running our furnace a lot more. Okay, the next item is parking. Believe it or not, some areas, if you guys are following what's going on in the ski world right now, some areas are actually requiring a parking reservation to be able to go skiing. And it's an interesting concept, but I think it's going to be fun to watch because it's fraught with landmines. We're not doing anything like that. We're just going to modify our parking operations. It'll be very similar to what it's always been. But instead of parking double rows, this year we're going to be parking single rows, and we're going to be keeping at least 6 feet between each car. We've got this little pole with flags on it. And it's not really going to cut down on our parking that much because, when you do the maps and take a look at it, it works out that I forget what percentage it is we're going to have of our full the size of groups getting together. So we'll be asking you, to stick with your own little group if you do choose to bring food. We'll have lots of food and beverage operations open. I think there was some confusion about that when I sent our little blog post out this past week, but we are opening up a number of different outlets and places for you to go sit here, so you don't have to bring food. There's no requirement for that. Mountain access. Getting onto the property, onto the mountain. This year, kind of following the lead of the theme park industry, we're going to be putting barricades across the bottom of the ski area here, from tree line to tree line, and we will have what we call a port of entry, which will be a gate that will be located between the corner of the ski lodge and the mountain house building. That's the old T-bar building. It's right where you're coming up into the plaza on the left side from the parking lot. We will have a little will call window that's under construction right now outside of that gate. So the deal is this: if you have a season pass, it's being mailed to you as we speak. Karen and crew are working diligently on that. That season pass is loaded. It's good any day we're open. There's no reservation required. All you do is walk up, you walk right past that will call window, get scanned at that little entry gate, that port of entry gate, you're in. Put the thing away. You shouldn't need it again the rest of the day to get on the lift or anything else. That's your pass to get in and do whatever it is you want to do. We will occasionally be scanning in one or two of the lifts sporadically just to check and make sure that we don't have people coming over from the other side of the hill, because it's not fair for some people to pay and some not to pay. But for the most part, 99% of the time, once you're in the gate at the port of entry, you're in. You shouldn't have to get scanned again the rest of the day, which for me, when I go skiing, I think that's a wonderful thing. I hate getting stopped at the lift every time, especially when technology being what it is, sometimes doesn't work, believe it or not. If you are purchasing a day pass this year, and listen closely if you're one of these folks that's going to be doing this, we will make day passes available for sale online on our website. They will be available 10 days prior to any day you want to come. So if you want to come on Christmas Day, you can start purchasing tickets for Christmas Day on December 16th, 15th, whichever is 10 days before that. That's confusing to me. But, so they go on sale 10 days before the actual day of the visit. If you purchase the ticket between the 10th day and the 2nd day, that's 48 hours prior to the day, you will receive a substantial discount. This gives us an idea how many people to expect. We do have a limited number of day passes available, so I suggest if you're going to do this, 10 days before you intend to come, get on there and get your ticket. If you have a season pass, there's no restriction. You can come anytime. We did some math and figured out how many people we figured would come with season passes. Took the number of people we're going to try to control to or max out at, and the balance is what's going to be available in day tickets. And that number may vary during the season depending on the day of the week or whether it's a holiday period. So if you want more information about that, or pretty much anything else, just go to the website and click on Plan Your Trip, I think it is, and you can get more information about how to purchase a day pass. So if you've already gotten one of our Cooper Key cards, that's your RFID card, if you have one of those from last year and you want to buy a day ticket, you should already have a profile in the system. You should be able to go to the website and reload that card with whatever day or days you want to purchase. If you do that, you don't have to stop at the will call window either. But if you do not have a card from previous transactions and you need a new one, we will have one printed for you and waiting for you at the will call window based on whatever you've purchased. So that's really the only scenario where you have to stop and pick up a pass. Once you have this pass, once you have this Cooper Key card, you can reload it from your home computer, from your phone, whatever it is you like to do, and never have to go to the ticket window, will call window, whatever you want to call it again. You just come in here, drive up, get out of your get your boots on, get ready to ski at your car, walk up, walk through the gate, and you're in. It's like going to Epcot. So that's the way that the passes are going to work this year. And this year, in particular, because we are going to be very limited in how many people we can have in these buildings. Anybody that comes through the gate has to have a paid ticket, a paid pass, whether it's a season pass or a day pass. That's just the way it has to be this year. The number of people that we are allowed to put in, for instance, the different rooms in this lodge, are directed and dictated by the restrictions put on restaurant establishments. And those numbers are very, very low in comparison to what we normally have in these buildings. Extremely low. So space is at a premium. So whether you're just coming here and wanting to hang out while the kids are skiing or whatever it is, first of all, I don't recommend hanging out in a building with a bunch of strangers that you don't know, given the COVID scenario we're dealing with right now. Second of all, we've got to do our best to ensure that we've got space for people that have come out and paid to go skiing to come in and spend 15 or 20 minutes. And we do hope people limit their time, by the way, share the wealth. We want to give these people an opportunity to be able to come in and purchase food or drinks or whatever they want, and spend a little bit of time at the limited number of tables we're going to have. It's going to look like, it's going to look like if you watch any football games now, it's going to kind of look like that in our buildings. There's just nobody home because we can only have so many people in here. There will be, directional scenarios in the buildings, one-way staircases, doors that aren't going to be open from the outside. They will all open from the inside by fire code. But there will be certain ones that you can't come in and certain ones you can't go out unless it's an emergency. So, no matter what you're doing, whether it's downhill skiing, riding the lifts, uphill skiing, any activity inside, you've got to have a pass in order to get in. I do want to address the uphill skiing scenario just a little bit. I know there's going to be a little consternation over this one, but this is a very delicate and serious situation here we're dealing with. I want everybody to know that, yes, during our operating hours, you will be required, if you want to ski uphill, you will be required to have either a paid season pass or a paid day pass. There's no separate uphill pass this year. You get the pass, you come in, you can do that. If you get tired, you can jump on the lift in and ride back up and ski down. But the fact of the matter is, we do require that no matter what you're doing. And we will have signs posted. You don't need to sign anything this year. You don't need to get a special pass. None of that. We will just have a few signs at the bottom of the mountain highlighting that the way up the front side of this mountain is Looker's Left on Trail's End. The way up on the back side of the mountain, as it has been, is Looker's Left on Ambush. And the way up from Tennessee Creek Basin, the bottom of the Little Horse T-Bar, will be Low Road. And you just follow the signs, get you back up. You can ski. If you get tired, jump on the lift. There's no requirement for a pass or anything else to come out here between the hours of 5 p.m. and 6 a.m. That's when an awful lot of people that work, we're not come out here and enjoy the hill and uphill or hike or do whatever it is they do. The only thing we ask if you're here during that period from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. is that you be cognizant of trails that are being groomed, grooming equipment, and any other equipment that's on the hill. Please stay away. Do not ever ski close to the back of a snowcat when the tiller's running or any other time. I can tell you stories about that you don't want to hear. So just use your heads if you're doing that. The other thing I wanted to mention was, going into this ski season, an awful lot of ski areas in this state are flat out prohibiting uphill skiing and other activities. We are not doing that. We're just trying to manage our numbers and make this fair and equitable for everybody involved. So once you come out and have a good time, if you don't like to pay for it, that's fine. Come out in the off hours. As a matter of fact, I've probably got 50 people out here today skiing. after that, it's free game again. So, you know, we support the activity. It's good. It's a good, healthy activity. But while we're open, like I said, just think theme park. If you want to come in, you got to pay the fee. So that's what's going on there. The other thing I'll mention about that is that when we were forced to close last year on March 14th, we, and I think Aspen, were the only two ski areas that maintained an open hill for uphillers the whole way through that period until the snow melted. We'll do that again. If we're closed down, it's free game, come out uphill, roll around in the snow, do whatever you want to do. But that is something that almost all ski areas didn't do during that time period. But we will do it again if that happens, and I hope to God it doesn't happen. So if anybody has any questions about that or any of these other restrictions, I guess, please feel free to contact me personally. Okay, what have I missed here? Oh, the other thing, in terms of accessing the area, is this year, if you can't keep it on your person, don't bring it through the gate. You won't be permitted to bring extra clothing, extra shoes, coolers, food, backpacks. Nothing will be stored in any of these base area buildings. This isn't anything unique. If you get on other websites and take a look, you're going to find things very similar to this. There's always a higher possibility of, germ transmission, virus transmission, whatever, if everybody just brings their stuff in and lays it around. So please be aware that no extraneous gear comes onto the property. Keep it in your car. I know, some people have difficulty with the concept of booting up the car. This year, boot up at your car. Get yourself ready, get your gloves, your goggles, your hat, whatever else it is. Make sure you're ready to go. And leave everything else in the car. If you've got food, leave it in the car. You can go back out there, grab your lunch, grab your drinks, whatever you're doing. When you're ready, come back through the gate, you just get scanned again, and you're good to go. So there's no restriction on the number of times you can go out and come in on any given day. So, yeah, that is a different look than we're used to. But I think it's something we've all got to strive to abide by in order to get through this. And again, I just want to reiterate the difference in how it's going to be in these buildings. On the base level floor here where the guest service desk is, there's not going to be a guest service person there this year. That's going to be moved out to what was the old ticket windows. That's just an area where there's not real good circulation right there. I don't want to put an employee at risk sitting there. That floor, that base floor, will be kind of segregated to itself. The stairway to the second floor is going to be closed off except for emergencies. So that is access to the bathroom. You come in from the plaza, in through that door, use the restrooms, exit the door to the north side of the lodge, and back out. And I'll get more into flows here in a minute in the buildings. But that's the way that's all going to have to work. Regarding lift access, excuse me for a minute. The lift bases are going to be redesigned somewhat. This is one of those ones that is questionable because we're outdoors, but we got to do this. So the bases are going to be reconfigured a little bit to accommodate for the required 6-foot spacing. So there's going to be like between the lanes there will be a ghost lane that's closed off. It's 6 feet wide. So the base will be a little bit wider. We're also going to have little signs in it that tell you to maintain 6 feet of distance between the persons in front of you. That's kind of a no-brainer with skis on, because you're kind of 6 feet anyways, but I think it would be a good reminder for folks to please try to maintain the distancing. Face coverings will be required in the mazes also. Pretty much the only time they want us not to have masks on are when you're skiing or riding down the hill. We're extremely socially distanced, so just be aware of that. We'll have signs, and our guest service function, as I said, will be in the old ticket windows. So if you're in here and have any questions about any of this stuff, please stop in there and we'll try to address them. We also will be running the chairlifts at a slightly lower speed to try to facilitate a higher load success rate. You know, nobody likes all the slows and stops, and we're trying to mitigate, you know, the amount of human interaction and contact, having to pick people up, get face-to-face, even with face masks on. So we'll be running things just a little slower, hoping to up the load rate, the efficiency rate a little bit. Okay, baselines, I've already addressed a lot of this. You know, the floors to be divided will be allowed to have X number of people in each particular area, including the cafeteria line and some other spaces. Let's see. Let's move on to the next item. The rental and retail shop. There will be, again, a restriction on the number of people in those buildings. I think it's going to be like 4 customers per at a time in the retail shop. And in the rental shop, we've got a number, we've got, you know, little feet on the floor. And we think we have a very efficient method to get folks through the rental shop pretty quickly, but it's not going to be outside the norm to have to stand outside for a while. We will have a doorman there regulating entrance and counting the number of people we have in the building. And I know these things all seem a little bit crazy, but we want to keep this place open. So that's why we're doing it. The Ridgeview Cafe, the mountaintop here, same scenario as here. That's obviously a very small facility. There will probably be just 1 or 2 tables inside there. We'll have tables outside. We're looking at some small tent scenarios to put on the deck up there. Same thing here at the base lodge on the deck here. Children's Center facility, well, several things that we're not offering this year. Day-long children's programs and daycare. Given the state of COVID and the transmission possibility, we have opted to do away with those programs this year. We are repurposing the children's ski school building to become another food and beverage outlet with some limited seating inside as well as outside, called Pando's Provisions, in honor of Pando, our mascot. The fare in there will be much like that that's served at the yurt. You know, basic stuff, you know, hot dogs, brats, those types of things, coffee, chocolate, beer, wine, a few other odds and ends. So that's what's happening in that area. Ski patrol, there's an entire document in here dedicated to ski patrol. We don't need to get into that. That's a tough area. You know, it's a higher risk than most. So we have a very, very well-defined documented policies and procedures for our patrol, including how many people can be in the headquarters at one time and a host of other things dealing with trying to keep these guys as well as everybody else safe. Races and competitions. This year, it's going to be like probably about 15 or 20% of what it normally is. You know, Cooper does a lot of puts on a lot of race events. This year, that's going to be limited to some high school race events midweek and a couple of other events. I think a couple of Sunday events, and then we have a couple of Masters events. The Masters events don't bring many people. It's just single guys coming in here trying to prove they can still ski. They're great guys. But so we'll have a couple of Masters events also. We will not, and I'm sorry to say this, we will not be holding our whole shot NORAM border cross and skier cross event or any other border cross and skier cross event this year. It's just a little bit too dicey and too risky, and particularly with the whole shot event, we were getting competitors from all over the world, and you know, that's again, it's a high risk situation we're going to steer away from this year, and we'll see how things go next year. We can revisit it at that point. Some of the local teams may do a little bit of training here, but the Cloud City ski club situation will be, you know, somewhat limited. We are scheduling times for staggered trainings for the different groups, and I know they're going to also be using Dutch Henry Hill more this year. Snook at Torsell. This year, it's going to be put on hold. There's really no way we can figure out how to operate that program the way we've normally done it. The cab on the back of the cat is a very tight environment, and it just wasn't going to work out. We couldn't accommodate the social distancing and all the other things that we needed to do. Plus, it kind of puts at risk, that's a different environment on the ridge than it is here in Bounds. And getting somebody hurt out there, and having to take what might be a limited number of patrollers, and there's just a whole host of reasons why it didn't make any sense this year. We hope to get that one back in the saddle next year and get it up and running again. Office spaces, we're limiting, access to the various offices on the property, maintaining social distance, masking, and all that stuff. Grooming operations will be pretty much as normal, with the exception of there will be a lot of sanitizing activity in between shifts, before and after shifts, for the health and safety of the operators. But we do intend to have a full suite of grooming activities this year. So that kind of wraps up some of the things that are built into this document. By no means did I cover everything in here. It addresses all kinds of stuff. Well, here's a good note. If we do have an extreme weather event, the question was posed to me about what do we do if that happens? Well, if that happens and it's an extreme event, we will open the doors to this lodge and the other buildings, and we'll take care of everybody. We're going to try to get them out of here as quickly as we can, get them in their cars. But if that happens, we'll get everybody in here, try to get them segmented in the building, and then probably have to try to do some contact tracing work with the individual groups in the lodge in the event that there is an issue with coronavirus spread as a result of that. But not to worry, we're not going to keep you outside if there's a real serious issue. Let's see. So that's pretty much in a nutshell the important highlights of that document. Like I said, it certainly wasn't comprehensive, or it certainly wasn't detailed, but you get the gist of what we're trying to do here. And again, you need to know that I don't want to do this. I don't think anybody here wants to do this. You don't want me to do this, but we have to do this because I want us to be here. Some of the decisions we've made regarding, getting into the property and all the things that we have to do and how we're doing our past pricing and all that. We are running a business here, and if we don't make enough money to keep the thing going, we're not going to be here. So, we've had to make some of these adjustments and do some of these things in an effort to stay afloat. So, please, I appreciate your understanding and cooperation with all the things we're trying to do so that we can provide for you and for ourselves a fun place to come and, have some recreation time during this weird time that we're in. So, let's get back to, are we up with the slide, Lucas?
Yep.
All right. Oh my gosh, it's 2 o'clock. I need to be done. The rental shop. This is a shot of what you'll see when you come into the rental shop. You'll note the plexiglass in front of our 2 models, John and George. That's pretty much the way the whole rental shop is set up. This is where you go when you come into the building to get signed in and move to the next boot fitting step. Once you're there, you move to, let's see, on the right side of that rental shop slide, you'll see that's a ski tech station. There are 2 of them there, and then there is a rack with boots on it that's in between those 2 tech stations. That rack is there. It's got a variety of sizes of boots on it, so that for the first time ever, and this is something we should have done a long time ago, we'll be able to tech people's skis without asking them to take a boot off. So that's going to be kind of a new thing to help expedite this whole thing and to eliminate some more touch points with equipment, boots, and the like. Now we move to food options. Again, I think there might have been some misinterpretation of what we sent out this week. We'll have lots of food options. You don't have to bring your food. You don't have to go to the car, but you're welcome to. You just can't bring it in here. So our food options, as always, the cafeteria, the base camp cafe, and the lodge here. The menu will be somewhat more limited. You'll have to stand in queue, with the distance, feet on the ground, and all that. But we've got that, I think, in a pretty efficient situation there. So that's available. Over in Katie's Irish Pub, the area that we have traditionally called Katie's Annex, that's kind of on the west side of the building where the little bandstand is when we have our $30 Thursdays, and the band plays over there. We have a little pizza shop opened in there. It's a standalone operation. It'll be open from probably late morning until the time that the Katie's pub actually closes at some point after the end of our ski operating day. And we'll have pizza there, a variety of drinks, beer and wine available there. And also on days when we're doing our deck grill, we have the world famous Katie's Presidential Cheesesteak available. We'll also be selling them there from the under the warmer at the pizzeria at Katie's. The Ridgeview Cafe at the top of the mountain, that'll be open regular hours, 7 days a week with its normal fare. It's just going to be a little bit more limited in seating. As I said, we are going to put more tables outside and try to provide a somewhat protected area for people to sit outside. The Shamrock Snack Shack. This is a new one. At the bottom of the Piney Basin lift, as you're coming down under the lift, off to the right when you get down to the bottom on the flats, we'll have a small building, and it'll be set up with a pass-through window, and you can get, I think Scott Camp's planning on doing burritos and a few other odds and ends out of there, coffee, hot chocolate. Just another option to keep people spread out and give folks an opportunity, to eat. You can grab something there, the lift right on the way up, or we'll have tables there also where you can sit, relax, and enjoy. It's a great place, when the sun's out. We call it the beach down there. Oh, yes, the famous presidential grill on the deck. We'll probably be running that grill, doing cheesesteaks and maybe some other things on a more regular basis this year, again, to help mitigate lines forming inside the lodge, people waiting for food. So you'll be able to, get like the cheesesteak and I'm not sure what else. Also, we're looking at, there's a pass-through window into Katie's bar right there. You can grab a drink while you're grabbing your cheesesteak or whatever it is. And Pando's Provisions, as I mentioned before, that's going to be operating in the Children's Center, and the fare offered in there, as I said, will be very much similar to what you would find at the Ridgeview Cafe. Occasionally we will be doing things like, we'll probably have a grill outside and do burgers and things out there when it's nice too. So the message here is we're going to have a lot of places to get food this year. And by using things like the Children's Center as an indoor space with seating to help supplement what we have in the lodge, and by doing things on the decks to create more comfortable seating, we're hoping to be able to give everybody that's come through the gate an opportunity to enjoy, some food and drink and take some time to sit and relax. Okay. Next slide. We've got this is a shot of the new pizzeria in Katie's Annex I was talking about. On the left, this is Scott showing his new pizza oven, new last year. And this is just basically the layout. This is what you would see. We've got the plexi protective stuff there, pass through, put your hand in and use your credit card or pay with cash. So we're trying our best to separate folks, as you'll see in these slides. All right, next slide. As I mentioned, we're mailing out our season passes. This, I think, is something that we probably will, most likely, Karen, I hope you agree, we'll be doing from here on out. Mailing out the season passes, at least the ones that have been purchased by now. It's a pretty big number. You know, we do traditionally sell a lot of season passes here at Cooper. And previously, you know, people have come to pick them up, and we've had lines of people waiting and waiting and waiting to get their pass, because everybody seems to come at the same time every year. So this year, we're mailing them all out. You'll have them in your hands. The first day you come here, you just present it at the port of entry gate, you're in. No waiting in line for that one. This is a very arduous process, by the way, but Karen and she sent a couple folks, Katie and Tashara, helping her out with this process, and they're moving through it pretty quickly. So, okay, next slide. This is our new will call building that I talked about that will be outside of where the port of entry gate is. On the left, we see a construction man, and on the right, this is a shot of the front of the building. We don't have the windows, the ticket windows cut out yet, but this is where you would go. It's on the west side of the lodge, kind of outside the restroom area. Then if we move to the next slide, this is just a mock-up of what this port of entry gate would be. So this is just off to the right of that little will call window building that we just showed you, and takes you into the plaza. All right, moving along. So I talked about one way to get in and one way to get out of these buildings right now. So what we need to do, unfortunately, is we need to have a count of how many people we got in here. And the best way for us to do that is to have one door going in and one going out. So what we're going to do is have everybody going in the main doors that face up the slopes. There will be one door for in there, one door for out there. This little space in the railing is going to be closed off in front of those doors, and you're going to have to go off to the right as you're facing those doors to exit, or you're going to have to come from that way too. Up on the third floor, you see the stairway. That will be an exit stairway only. So once you come up to the third floor and you're in the building, eat your lunch, whatever, you exit from those stairs, but nobody goes in that way. We'll have somebody at the bottom of those steps who will have a counter, and we'll be allowing people in as people come out. Again, something I drastically, desperately wanted to try to do away with, but we've got to do this. And this is how we can do it. So this is a shot of the third floor of the lodge, and just a little mock-up of what you'll see in terms of spacing. These tables will actually probably be further apart than that. I think on this entire third floor of the big room, there's going to be 8 of those tables, as opposed to what you would normally see up here. So it's going to be pretty limited. We will have a few single seats. You notice when you're looking out the windows of this picture, there's some bar top. We'll have probably 2 stools at each one of them, 6 feet apart, because not everybody comes in 6s to sit at these tables. So we will have some opportunities for, singles, doubles, whatever, to sit. It'll all just fit within the confines of the number of people in the building. And this is the Children's Center of Pando's provision. In one door, out the other. There are doors on both ends of this building which will serve as emergency exits only. So one of these doors will be labeled entrance, the other one will be simply labeled do not enter, exit only, and we'll have somebody inside here keep an account on the number of people in this building also. Next, here's Johnny showing us the spacing of the tables in Pando's provision. I'm not sure what the number we're going to be able to have in there, but it's certainly going to help us out. Okay, next slide. So we freshened up the counters on the deck. Ski School Bill McGinty is an expert woodworker. He did a wonderful job refinishing these counters and stools. So we try to make things a little nicer on the outside. And I think the last one coming up here is an example of some of the propane fire pits that we're in the process of acquiring for both the deck at the lodge, the deck at the Ridgeview Cafe here at the top of the mountain, and possibly outside of Pando's Provisions here at the Old Children's Center. So we're going to attempt to warm things up a little bit, the best we can, make it as comfortable as possible. So yeah, that's kind of the scoop. The message there is lots of places, lots of opportunities to get a bite to eat. But but asking everyone, please, to be considerate of, your neighbors, the other folks that are here. We ask you not to stay inside for an extended period of time. That's another reason why anybody coming into the property, really has to have a pass, because there's only so much. If it were only the outdoor spaces, it might be a little different, but we have to have a count on how many people come through that gate so that we can kind of monitor what's going on as people are coming into the buildings and try to keep a handle on that. So that's the scoop with the food and beverage. Okay. Back to me, Louis. Sadly enough. So, just wanted to mention a couple things, with our port of entry in the past thing that I've been talking about. We do not require a reservation. If you have a season pass, we did some calculating. We have an idea of how many people with passes come on given days, and we've increased that potential number a little bit this year. And that's going to be the limitation on how many day passes we have available. So we're going to be one of the rare areas that doesn't require a reservation, which I think is a huge deal. I don't want to go there. I don't think we're going to have to go there. We have a lot of things in place that a lot of areas don't have the opportunity to do, like the single point of entry. Imagine trying that at Breckenridge. I don't think it's going to work. So we're very happy about the system that we have in place. There were a couple of questions I'll address quickly here. Let's see. One was revolving around options for people who are not skiing or boarding. Unfortunately, unless you want to pay to get in, it's going to be a negative on that. And quite frankly, as I said earlier, I wouldn't want to come and hang around for an extended period of time with a bunch of strangers this year, given the risk factors that are involved. So that's kind of the answer to that one. If I drop somebody off and need to use the restroom, that'll be a one-off situation. Good chance we may have some porta potties out there, or we may come up with a protocol for letting people come in and out and back out. I'm not sure yet. We're not going to stop you if you got to go to the bathroom, for heaven's sake. So let's see. We've already addressed where the entry gate is. And I addressed going out and coming back in. That's not a problem. I addressed all the food. It will be available in the lodge and the yurt, and you can purchase it with either credit card or cash. Prefer credit card because of the touch factor. Let's see. Got that one. There was a question here about when you can expect to receive passes, because some of our partner areas are open. Passes are being mailed right now, and if it's an individual situation and you need one, just give a call and we'll do our best to get it in your hands. I will say one thing though. Early season is a tough time for our partners that open early. I know everybody likes to head over to Loveland and some of the other areas that get open before us, but I'm not sure what they have open right now. But a lot of times they've only got that one or two ribbons of joy, ribbon of death, whatever you want to call it, with a lot of people on there. And I think it's courteous if we're patient and heading to these other areas. I, for one, will not do that. I'll wait until we're open. But it is your right, if you have a pass, we do have these partners, so you're certainly welcome to go there. But again, I think courtesy is the order of the day. Okay. I think I've answered almost all this stuff. Yeah, anything that I missed in it?
It's good.
Yeah. So, to sum this up, as usual, I've gone longer than I should have. But, there's a lot of information to get out there. And as I said at the beginning of this thing, this is going to be a very different looking ski year. I don't like the term new normal. I don't want to believe that this is going to be a new normal. So, tired of hearing that one. This is an adjustment for this this year. Like I said, a few of the things might stick in terms of efficiency and what we're doing, what we're learning. Maybe we'll have sneeze guards all the time. For heaven's sakes, there's been the regular flu every year that we get a rash out at this mountain. So maybe the sneeze guards, are a good thing to try to help minimize that. Some of the other employee things we're talking about may continue into the future. The access thing will probably continue into the future. There may be some changes in there as far as, people that aren't getting all that. We'll address that after this year's over. My hope is that, we can all deal with these things. We can be here. My hope is that, there will be a distribution of this new vaccine that everybody's talking about. I think that in itself will put a lot of folks at ease moving forward, even though it will be limited at first. I think it's a good step in the right direction. And I hope all these things come to pass, and next year I'm standing here with John Clapper, with the board behind me, and all of our employees, and all of you again here, so that we can, get together and enjoy this day, looking forward to, something that I'm very passionate about. I know that you all are too. So let's all hope and pray that things go the right direction, we can pass this time. The human race has been through a lot of things before. We can do it again. We're pretty resilient. I would ask, and again, hope and pray that we don't get at each other too much. I know there's differences of opinion on the approach for this and what's being done, but this is what we have to do, so we're going to do it, and we hope you'll cooperate and be here and enjoy a good ski season with us. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you out here. Important date before we sign off here. Our opening date is, I'll reiterate again, Wednesday, December 9th. That is not a movable date. Unless we don't have snow, then it's going to move the wrong direction. We will not open earlier than that. We have too much preparation to do and training to do dealing with this, these COVID regulations and everything. So it will be a weekday, December 9th, Wednesday opening, giving us hopefully a couple days of slower time to get everything dialed in here so that we're ready to handle bigger crowds. Also want to mention that we are also continuing on a limited basis working with our local programs, SOS and Full Circle and the like. Not quite to the level that we have been able to, but we are going to try to maintain those things as we move forward. So we're here for you. Come and enjoy yourselves. Thanks again, and well, it's snowing now. Let's keep praying for snow. Thanks.